Well, Margie, thanks, Pastor Godlove, for me being here. I've been a police officer for 22 years. I have specialized in cybersecurity for law enforcement for a number of years. I don't really do that much anymore. The reason for that is I own a company that does it, so it's too much of a conflict of interest for me to do it for the police service and for myself. But I'm still with the Calgary Police Service. On that note, any views, opinions expressed today are those of myself and not of the Calgary Police Service. That's my disclaimer, so in case I get sued later, no. If you have a question during this, it's a pretty small crowd, just ask. If it's something I can ask or answer during it, I will. If it's something that I know is going to be answered later, we'll answer it then. Does that make sense? But it's a pretty small group, so we'll make it pretty informal. This presentation has been given to the likes of NMAX, Suncor, like to large places. This is a nice, homely crowd, as I would call it, so which is nice. I'm more than glad to be here. It is tailored primarily for adults. I'll be straight about that, but I will tailor it as I go through for children. There is children need to know security as well from this age, and you'll see why when we go through this. Okay, so I'm just going to navigate through your system here. Unfortunately, you have an older version of Windows or Office here. Can you just click the next slide for me there? And I don't think the video in this is going to work well. Okay, yeah, it's not. So can I just get you to press the escape key for me? And then we're just going to play a little video in the background here. The escape key, and just open up the folder on the desktop called presentation. Unfortunately, the version of Office that this was made on is a newer version of what you have. Okay, I'll just let them. There's a folder on the desktop called presentation. It's okay, you can take your time. Just come on in, folks. We'll all look at you and make you feel awkward, but you're late. No. Yeah. I'm just going to pop to the back here to help out. 1 second here. You're okay. You're okay. Really, you're all good. Don't you worry. You just put the screen on for me. Okay, so we're just going to play that video. All right, just you play that video, and then I'll come back. Okay, so the screens will come back on here, and you'll see a video playing here. I promise they will come back on. This is not me doing it. Yeah, okay. Here we go. So yeah, we can just play that video whenever you're ready. Yeah, so this is a Canadian teenager. The stuff that I'll be speaking about today will be stuff specific to Canada. A lot of these talks are US-based. This is a Canadian-specific talk, and it is specific to Calgary as well. This is, just press play there. It should just play. Yeah, there we go. That's it. Yeah, that's fine. Awesome. So yeah, so for people who do not know, Amanda Todd was a teenager. And this is where it's really important for kids. She took her life. And she took her life because she gave an image of her breasts online once. She was then pursued for years by the offender, who was arrested, charged, and is currently in prison. And he was from Holland. He was Dutch. The reason I show this at the start is to hit home to parents. This is why I put the police disclaimer at the start. I'm here to tell you what's best practice, not what's best socially. Does that make sense? There's a big difference. We can stand here and we can hug the whole world, but I'll tell you what reality is. If you have a child, anyone under the age of 18, even myself, I do this, there will never be a camera of any sort up my stairs in my home. Does that make sense? So I will never allow my kids to have a laptop with a webcam, a computer with a webcam in their bedrooms. That's the bottom line. Does that make sense? Why is that? Because Amanda made one mistake and paid a price for it. Okay? It wasn't her fault. She made a bad choice, and she paid a price, right? So, wasn't a bad kid. And I have dealt in Calgary multiple cases of this same scenario. Okay? And parents are dumbfounded, how could this happen to my child? Okay? How it happens to your child is because you have allowed it. I'm a pretty straight talker, as Margie knows. You have allowed it by letting the camera. So I'll ask people the question, and people say to me, we need to let kids learn. We need to let kids be themselves, find themselves. I completely agree, and we should do that in a safe environment. But if somebody pulled up in an unknown van outside your church building today, giving out candy, and all the parents were sitting here, and all the kids were out of that van getting candy and being invited in for the candy, how would you feel? Because by allowing a digital camera into a bedroom, you're allowing people into your child's bedroom. Does that make sense? Okay. I sometimes get a mixed reaction with that. Okay, awesome. So as a result of what Amanda and her family have done, there's been a lot of progress in this field as well. Okay, if we can quit that video and just bring up the slideshow again. Okay, and I will rush through some things and I'll slow down on some other things. Yeah, you can just exit and just bring up the presentation again. Sorry, I didn't know what version of Windows Office you had. I should have known, eh? Okay. Okay, and go to the next slide again. Yeah, and just keep going through. Yeah, okay, so here's a case here. Okay, so let's say you say to yourself, my child's good, my teenager's good, and they convince you. Okay, your teenager says, it's fine, I need it for X, Y, and Z. I need to have my laptop in my room, which is fine, to do my schoolwork, which is normal. I have a son that does the same, right? You can cover the webcam up. You can keep his bedroom or her bedroom door open. Does that make sense? There's things that you can do. This is a case that I dealt with here in Calgary. Who takes selfies? Kids, do you take selfies? Yeah, selfies? Okay. Lots of people take selfies. Okay. So, everyone takes selfies. Okay. Where are you when you take a selfie? Do you take a selfie at church? Do you take a selfie when you're out shopping? Do you take a selfie at school? What if you're just doing your hair in the washroom? What about that type of selfie? Would you do that? Hey, I look nice. Anything wrong with that? Okay. People do it, right? Okay, this young boy, this has been through the courts. I caught the guy for this. He got 27 years in the U.S., and he's still in, obviously, with no parole. What this young boy did, he took a selfie. And he was just standing in his bathroom taking a selfie, just like I am. Okay? He gets his picture, his selfie sent to him with his picture, his face, superimposed on a naked boy. In his bathroom standing. They changed the body. Okay? What do you think the person said to this young boy? Send me more pictures of you, real pictures, or I'm sending this to all of your people, all of your family and friends. Here's where you live. And sent him a picture of his home. How did he get the picture of the home? How do you think? Selfies playing basketball. With the street name, selfies outside the house. They use Google Maps. Does that make sense? So selfies are great, selfies are fun, but be cognizant of where you take them. If that selfie was in a public space, in a church, in a mall, could they have really done that? Because it wouldn't make sense. Does that make sense? Okay, so be cognizant even the innocent selfies and that you take. And this young boy, which if you go to the next slide for me, please, sorry. Yeah, just keep going through. Okay, here's the key with your teenagers and your children. There's two types of bears in this world. There's a grizzly bear and there's Yogi Bear. Okay, parents need to be Yogi Bears. Okay, doesn't matter what your kid has done. Doesn't matter how compromised they've made themselves. Does not matter. Okay, it doesn't matter if their phone goes during church. When somebody's giving a presentation, no, I'm messing. It doesn't matter. You need to be approachable, and they need to trust that they can come to you and talk to you no matter what they have done. Does that make sense? No matter what. You can be a grizzly bear inside, but outside, you need to be Yogi Bear. You need to be completely approachable, because that's when your child will come and tell you that something is wrong. If your child feels that they cannot approach you, the perpetrator will exploit your child over fear. And how that works is, what they usually do is they will send a picture or do something. Then they'll say, hey, it's not that bad, just send one more. And they'll build up the fear. Oh, I'm going to tell your parents now. And they build up the fear. Oh, if they find out, they're going to be mad. And they build up the fear and fear and fear. It's all based on fear. And as a church group, you know, fear is not of God, right? So it shouldn't be in our lives to our kids, right? So we need to be Yogi Bears, right? Bedrooms and computers do not mix. Know what platforms your teens are on. Who's got an Xbox at home, or a PlayStation, or a computer game of some sort at home? Kids. Okay. Are you mom? What games do they play, mom? Okay. Awesome. What's the username? You don't know. Right? And I'm putting you on the spot. Okay, and here's the point. And I will make these slides available after as well. So if you want to make notes or whatever, I will make these available to Margie. I'll email them through. The thing is, you need to know not only what platforms your kids are on, but you need to join them. Like, literally join them. Okay, my kids are now, I'm actually a grandfather, believe it or not, but they're older. I use a lot of moisturizing cream. No. But our youngest he's 16 now. He's 16, and he knows I will go on these games. But here's the things: my elder girls, I would have been on their platforms. I was on their Instagram. I was on their Facebook. I was on whatever they had. I was on all their Snap. I was on all their platforms from day one. But here's the trick: I didn't engage with them. Okay? Because I'm not there really to engage. I don't want to hear the dramas and the stories. But what it is, it gives me a window into their world online always. And the minute I try their passwords, so their username and their passwords, is the minute they lose their device. Because guess who owns that laptop? Guess who owns those phones? Guess who owns the Wi-Fi? Okay? Society would teach you, no, you need to let your kids be. Yeah, sure. My argument to that is we've all learned to cross the street. If we have a 3-year-old kid here now, ask them to go and cross the street on their own. It won't work out too well. We need to teach our kids how to walk across the road. We need to teach our kids how to walk across that digital road. Okay? And that's through being involved, participating, knowing what your kids are up to. Can you go to the next slide there, please? Okay. Fishing. So, fishing, this is not where you catch fish. Has anyone heard of fishing, PH? Okay. Believe it or not, some police officers have not, just so you know, and they still spell it F-I-S. It's kind of funny. I find it funny. But so phishing is really a means of trying to get you to click on a link, go to a website, believing you're going somewhere else. Okay? This is a very common tactic. It's getting less and less common on email now. It is actually. And it's usually, this example here is an account. You can't really see it great here. It's account verification for your Microsoft account. Okay? Click here to verify your account. I made this email. It's fake. It goes to a completely other site. But I got it past Microsoft's own filters to get it into the person's inbox, and it's just to show that it can be done. So how do you know if my mouse isn't really working here? Can you just click the next slide there? I don't know if, yeah, okay. So you'll see here this link. This would be a link that you click on. You'll notice in the bottom left-hand corner on any browser or on your email, if you hover the mouse over a link, it'll actually show you where it's meant to go. This is going to a Google shortcode, okay, which is not Microsoft. Does that make sense? So it would say Microsoft.com if this was really Microsoft. It's not. So you don't need to click the link to find out that it's fake. Does that make sense? Just hover over the link and it'll show you where it's going to go. And when it doesn't match up, you don't click on it. Okay? Do not let your curiosity get the better of you. Please. There are ways of doing that, which is a different way of doing it, but it's too much for this presentation. But okay, if we can just click to the next. Yeah, awesome. The P word, and just hold it there. Yeah, the P word. Yep. Just keep going. So I don't know what's going on back there. Just okay. Potato. Okay. I keep this slide in for churches, really. The corporate world doesn't really want this slide, believe it or not. And when I'm not actually speaking about potatoes, I'm speaking about porn. Okay? And this applies, I'll be pretty straight with it, to male and female. It's not, it used to be more one-sided. I'll tell you right now, it's both. And why I bring this into churches is not, I'm not here as the police to tell you what not to do and what to do. But here's what I will tell you. Anyone who engages in any of this, right? It's wrong. I'll tell you that right now. In my opinion, it's wrong. That's my belief. But if you think of that person that you're watching, and you think of that person as a child, that child never said, when I grow up, I want to be in a video. Okay? And but you're enabling it. Does that make sense? Okay? So if you don't want to enable someone, help them. How can you help them? Don't view it. Okay? That's all. I'll chat about that. I'm not here as the police again on that. Can I go to the next slide again? I don't know if you have a clicker. Okay. Cryptocurrency. And I will scoot through a lot of stuff here. Cryptocurrency, but I will touch on a few things with this. It is a digital currency that is online, okay? And I'm not going to how it works, but it works through the blockchain. And it is a non-tangible good. So you don't actually have a coin, you don't have a note. There's no central bank as such, okay? It's decentralized. But why I bring it up, and it can be used for good purposes. The initial use for cryptocurrency was so that you can be anonymous in your transactions. And the sale of it, how people try and sell it is, oh, the banks don't control you. But the initial use of cryptocurrency was that you can do an anonymous transaction where the seller and buyer don't need to know who's who in the zoo. Okay, so which is quite useful if you're buying anything illegal. Right? Okay. Now, it has come into more public use, and as of late. But why I bring it up in this presentation is, does anyone know of a cryptocurrency? So one is Bitcoin. Does anyone know of any others? Yeah. Right. How many do you think there are? Right. Okay. There's a new one called Raycoin. Okay? And if you get in today, you'll get one coin for $1 each. Okay? But this stuff's going to take off. And in 6 months, it's going to be each Raycoin is going to be worth $10. So you should really put in about $10,000 each today. Okay? Do you get my point with that? And it's made up. Okay? It does work as long as you get people trading in it. But here's where the problem is. I have had someone, and I'll tell you that it was called Travel Coin. And this is what I tell you, these are real cases. These are not, this is like real cases. I said, what's that TV show, Judge Judy? It's like, these are real cases, you know? These are real cases. $45,000 this lady put in to a coin called Travel Coin. Okay? Within, I think it was like 4 or 5 months, how much do you think it was worth? How much do you think her investment of I think it was about $45,000 she put in. How much do you think it was worth? Have a guess. Have a guess. Best case scenario. You tell me. You just put in $45,000. 2 cents. Literally 2 cents. Literally 2 cents. Because she bought into Raycoin. Does that make sense? She bought a crypto. Oh, this is a cryptocurrency. This sounds like a great thing. But nobody was trading in it, so its value just dropped out, and nobody. But so is that a fraud? No, it's not. It's not. That's an investment that went south on her. Do you think? How do you think I know about it? But she called the police to report fraud. We had to break the hard news. No, it's no different than you investing in McDonald's and their stock tanking. Makes sense? Which is why I bring it up in these talks, especially to church people, because I'll be honest, church people are nice people. They're kind people. And they want to help people and invest in things and can be taken advantage of sometimes, right? So point is, I'll tell you right now, cryptocurrency, be extremely, extremely careful. And so let's say you do Bitcoin. Bitcoin's more the more stable type, right? Okay, so you put in, Pastor Godlove puts in $1,000 into Bitcoin, gets like 0.005 of Bitcoin. Okay, it makes a decent rise. It makes 10%. Are you happy? Yeah, 10%. Okay, well, that's called heaven. You know, so 90%. So let's say 20%. 20% pretty good. Okay, pretty good. Okay, and let's say it makes the 20% in 1 week. Is that great? You've just made $200 in a week. Happy days. So what would you like to do? Do you want to pull it out? Get your $200? Yeah, you want to pull out so you put your 1,000 in, you put the 200 in. What do you think the average fees are to pull out cryptocurrency? Between 15 and 30%, which means your investment needs to be over 15 to 30% before you're pulling anything out. No, I'm no mathematician, but I think the stocks are better returns than that. All right, so it's really only good if you're in there for the long term, so be very careful with cryptocurrency. Okay, the other thing with cryptocurrency is no banks, no insurance companies, no churches, no utilities will ask you to pay in Bitcoin. Does that make sense? Tell you a funny story. I got a phone call, and you probably got these. Sometimes I entertain these phone calls, and I get a phone call. Hello, we've got a warrant for your arrest. I said, oh my goodness, okay. And so the guy goes on. I give my real name of being Paul, obviously. And so he goes, yes, Paul, we've got an arrest warrant here for you. I said, okay, great, okay. So this is terrible. How can I deal with this? And they said, well, you can pay for the warrant. I said, oh, thank goodness. And how much is that going to cost? And they said, well, how much do you have in your bank? And of course, I start saying, well, I've only got 30,000 in one bank and 60 in another. And I could see the salivating on the outside of the phone, you know. And he goes, oh, I'll get the officer to call you. You know, so of course, true as he says, another phone call comes in while he's on the phone, and he asks me to put him on hold. And this is Officer whatever from the Calgary RCMP. And I was like, oh, thank goodness, deal with the real police, you know. And I said, okay, well, how can I deal with this? And he said, oh yeah, you just need to pay this. And he asked, what do you think he asked me? This cop asked me. He asked me, where are you? Why do you think he asked me where I was? No, he knew I was in Calgary because he was the Calgary RCMP. He wanted to know where I physically was while I was on the phone. Because he wanted to see where the nearest Bitcoin ATM was, where I go and pay in the Bitcoin. Because why? It's anonymous. Once that money's gone, you can't get it back. Of course, where did I tell him I was? Because he asked for my postcode. I gave him headquarters postcode. And I could hear him typing it. The next thing was, yeah. So the point is that's the trick that they'll always try to get you to pay in cryptocurrency. And that's so cryptocurrency. I'll tell you, I'm not saying to stay away from it, but be very careful. Know what you're doing. If you are going to go in Bitcoin, stick to one that is showing a track record. Okay, don't invest in Raycoin. You know, okay, it's fake. Just so you know, in case somebody comes to me after. Can I go to the next slide? Next slide. Okay, yeah, just next slide. Better. There you go. Yeah, Tor, and just click on the next one. Does anyone know what Tor is? Okay, just keep going. Yeah, it stands for the Onion Router. The Onion Router. Okay, just keep going. And this is what it is. Okay, has anyone ever heard of the dark web on news and stuff? Welcome to the dark web. It is not black. It looks like this. It's not all dark and mysterious. This is it. And what Tor was designed for actually was encrypted communication in countries that couldn't do it. So if you were in a communist country and you needed to get news out, you could use this platform to get that news out. And it was actually developed, the rumor is it was developed by the US Navy. It wasn't. It was developed by people, by personnel from the US Navy, if that makes sense, right? And what it became very quickly is a means to do illegal stuff online. And you can get anything on there. And I mean anything. You can hire a hitman, buy drugs, whatever you want. And how do you think they pay for it all? Crypto. That's how it's all, that's where it all comes from. They all pay in dark web with that. If you see this on your kid's computer, there's these things called sledgehammers. No. But no, you need to have a Yogi Bear discussion. Okay? Why do you have that? Because there's no real need in the Western world to have this unless you're up to something a little bit nefarious, or you could be doing research. That's what we hear a lot, right? So if you see this, that's how. And it's very distinct. That's how you'll see it. You'll see, and you'll see the Onion logo and stuff, all right? And it's all free, no cost, so be very careful. Can I go to the next slide? So I just want to touch on that. So what's out there? Okay, if we can click the next slide again. I think this is a video. Yeah, I'm just going to go back, open this video quickly for you. I'm just going to escape that. Okay, sorry, I'll just take this for you. You're all right. And okay, so this video, if I can just, okay, you can just click play. Yeah, it's playing already. So who's that? Tom Cruise. Yeah, everybody agree? Just let it play. Oh, he changed. How did that happen? So this is a video. This is free software. I was actually going to use it, and I was going to do Pastor Godlove. But I kind of thought, it might be too close to the core. You know, that's where I have to be careful. You know, I don't know you that well yet. So, point is, can somebody deep fake a person? Okay, have we all seen fake news? All seen all of that? So. Yeah, lots, Jim Carrey, right? This is all free. It's all free software. The computer in your sound booth can run this software, no problem, and do exactly this with a webcam, right? Very easy, very easy. So I'm just bringing this to highlight, here's something to be aware of, okay? Now, here's something else I'm going to show you quickly. I'll keep talking while I'm doing this. I'm just going to skip out of this one. And I'm just going to get, where is this here? Okay, this one. Is this got audio? Yeah.
Welcome to Faith Revival Church in Calgary. I have been praying. You have a blessed time here. Remember to vote for me in the upcoming election in America. It doesn't matter that you are Canadian.
Now, who said that? Donald Trump. To faith, to the church. Wow. Okay. He just wanted to send a little message. So look at this. I can put in a sample of my voice. Okay, and I can make Pastor Godlove sound like me. I can take your sermon on Sunday, put that voice sample in here. Guess who I can sound like immediately? Okay. So, having that knowledge in your head. Okay? What's your name? I know you from the website, but I can't remember your name. Diana. I knew that. Now I know it. I remember. So, Diana, have you any kids? Yeah. What's your kid's name? So, Kevin calls you on the phone. Okay? Says, hey, Mom, I've been arrested. I need money for bail money. But you hear Kevin talking. What do you think? Is it Kevin? But if Kevin rang you right now on your phone,
I'd hang up and call him.
okay, that's what you do. Right? Hear what Diane said? Hang up and phone your relative back. Okay? Or if you have, especially grandkids, like Grandpa here, not that my 18-month-old granddaughter would be calling me, but there would be like a word, a safe word that I know it's them. Okay, that only they know. Because technology has advanced so much that now the criminals are using voice analysis to call people to scam them out of money. All right? So, and so the message is we need to be aware of these things, okay? And, sorry? No.
We had a case like that.
Yeah, you've had a case like that here? Yeah. Okay, yeah. So, but it's happening in Calgary. It's happening in Calgary, right? So, and have you ever had a phone call that sometimes doesn't make sense from someone talking to you? They're just talking to you. Oh, yeah, I'm just calling about, we're in the area, we're going to be there, we're just looking to sell you satellite TV, and you're going, what? I don't need, what? And you talk. What these people do is they call people to get an analysis sample. All right? So see all those calls that are like, hello, I shouldn't, this is, yeah, it is being recorded, I'll probably get in trouble for this, but I remember somebody asked me, called me about my duct work. You know, we clean ducts. I said, I don't have any ducts. And this conversation went on about 10 minutes just for the fun of it. But all of those phone calls, what you need to do is literally don't talk and hang up and block the phone number. Don't get into conversation. Don't call me again. Don't take me off you. Don't give them any analysis. Give them nothing. You need to literally hang up. And here's a trick. A lot of the systems that you get a phone call from trying to sell you stuff like the duct work or the be cleaned or whatever resellers it is, they use robo voice software that doesn't answer. So your phone will ring. You'll answer. They won't get you someone to talk to until they hear hello. Does that make sense? So until you say hello, you actually, and that's why when you answer these, there's sometimes a pause and you go, hi, hello, hello, and it takes a few seconds because they're linking you to now someone because the system has detected someone's answered the phone. So here's a little top tip. If you get those phone calls and you know it's spam, right? Answer it and immediately mute your mic immediately. You have to be quick in the draw, okay? And what you're telling the system is that this number does not work, it does not function, and it removes you from their list, from the software. So you answer, but you put your mic on mute immediately. Then what their system goes is, oh, that's a false positive, and it removes your phone number from that software list. All right, it's just a little tip to help yourselves, you know. So yeah, but you have to be quick on the draw with that mute button, you know. Yeah.
What was did anybody get phone calls with a big cruise ship horn?
I haven't had that one though. Yeah, yeah. But okay, if I can go open up the presentation again. Thank you for the help back there. Okay, so if you just want to scroll right through, yeah. Awesome, yeah. I'm just going to see if this scroll works here for me. If you just stop scrolling a minute, and I'll see if this works, because I did put one in. No, it doesn't. Yeah, if you keep scrolling for me, that'll be great. Keep going again. Keep going. Keep going. Yeah, okay, awesome. Okay, so I need an adult volunteer really quickly. Adult, has to be an adult. Thanks, Dan. Dan, can I get you quickly? We're going to time Dan, just 20 seconds. I want you to write down your name, your date of birth, okay, what type of car you drive, and your address. Okay, ready? Somebody count to 20. Okay?
15.
Doing awesome. Your address. Okay, your car you drive. Awesome. Fantastic. And your phone number. Just put down your phone number for me. Awesome. Your personal one. Yeah, your personal phone. Oh yeah, I don't want the church one. Awesome. And what's your email? Sorry, what's your email? Oh, sorry, I should have mentioned the email as well. Goodness. Thanks so much. Okay, awesome. Thank you so much, Dan. Now, can you just look my way? I just need a picture. Okay? Fantastic. Okay. So, thank you, Dan. So, what I have right here now is I've got all Dan's personal information for free. Very kind of her. Okay? Got her date of birth, everything. Okay? You're so kind. So now I can make all the profiles I want. I can now make all the bank accounts I want. And we're going to Mexico, dear, next week. Thank you, Diane. I really appreciate it. Okay? How do you feel? I will give you that back. So, what that's an example of is social engineering with this slide. Okay? Social engineering is making someone do something they don't want to do. Getting information out of them that's going to advantage someone. And this is very common. And I'll tell you a real life story that I did on a prank to my mom. God rest her, she's upstairs now. Not here, but further. And I called her as if I was from the bank. I put on an accent, you know, not this one, a different one. And we went, I got all her bank information. I could even hear her going through the drawers, getting her statements and going through them. And of course I said, it's me, I'm showing you how easy this is, you have to be careful. And she was, oh, you dirty dog. You know, I said, no, this is to show you. Like, so the point is social engineering, it's putting a rush on you. It's putting pressure on you to give information when you don't feel that you should, but you know, oh, Craig, I better do it quick, which is why we put 20 seconds. And you were really quick to write, right, Dan? Which I set you up for failure, so don't worry about it.
I got calls from the bank saying that somebody's withdrawn or bought something for 600 or whatever, and then they asked me to verify my bank account.
Yes.
And I said scammer.
100%. 100%. Yeah, because what they're trying to do is they're trying to get your information, and it's the same. It's like phishing. So those links when you get an email, they hey click in here. They're trying to get your banking information. I did run a session once with a youth group, a large youth group once, and what I did was I put on fake Wi-Fi, free Wi-Fi. Of course, youth are all over it, and what it was actually doing capturing all their social media passwords. So you have to be very careful of what you link to, what you click on, and all that. And when somebody calls, what you said, Dan, earlier about it, even when your son calls, you call them back. That's the key to all of this. You call them.
Just to verify something. So
Yep.
when the Royal Bank called and there was a serious thing going on, I said to them, you know what, right now I'm just going to hang up on you, and I did.
Yeah.
Called the police and told them what had happened, and I said that the worst thing I could have done was to call my bank, because what this particular call, they were already linked into my phone. Had I called my bank right away, they would have heard my conversation with the bank and possibly got my
Yeah.
information that way too. And I did not know that was a possible thing.
It's very hard to hack a phone. Okay, I'll be straight with you. Very hard, and this has come like so. What I used to do in the past, I used to hack the hackers. I used to get the payback. You know, I used to go after them. And I'll tell you right now, cell phones are quite hard to get into. And I'll tell you now, yeah, home lines, they can keep the line open. They can do that. They don't hang up the other side. Yeah, cell phones are was quite tough. Especially, I will touch on cell phones quickly here though, just when we're on this. Who's got an Apple phone? Who's got an Android? Android, the garbage bin is on the way out. No. So I did some research a number of years ago. This is back in 2014 or 2015. I was doing a talk at the University of Calgary, and I did some research for it. How many attacks do you think are developed daily to attack Android phones? Have a guess. 10,000 daily are developed. to attack Android cell phones. Why? Now, that's back then. And why was that? The reason for that was back then, it has changed. The Google Play Store, where you'd get your apps from on an Android phone, did not vet code. They did not look at the code of apps being put on the App Store. Okay? Apple vet every app. They look at the actual source code of every app, which is why Apple phones are more secure, unfortunately. Google have improved. Android has improved. Android is an open source platform. You have to remember. So all the source code is out there for it. Apple is not. It's a closed. Okay? So that's, I'm not saying to dump your Android phones. It's a bit of a joke, just in case I get a bill, you know. But Apple phones are more secure, but Android phones are more adaptable, if that makes sense. You can do more things with an Android because they are open source. So just want to touch on that. But anyway, social engineering will be that pressure. Police have fallen for it, just so you know as well. And I mean police organization. And all these cases are right there. The Ottawa Police Service back in 2016, when I was out in Ottawa, and I was actually with the guy who was dealing with this, their website got hacked. The Ottawa Police website, and there was a dancing banana. Kind of funny, you know. It could have been a lot worse. Okay, so how did they hack the website? This is a police service. Should that not be more secure? So how they did it, and this is all online. You can read about it. They rang the hosting company that the Ottawa Police Service used and says, "Oh, I'm the new IT guy for the Ottawa Police Service. What's our password?" Oh my goodness. And they go, "Oh, I can't tell you that." I said, well, I just need to change because the guy's left, he's resigned, now I'm in charge and nobody has any information. And social engineering, and of course, what did the guy on the phone say from the hosting company? Well, your hint is it's a street name. This is all like, so what do you think the guy did? He started naming the streets of where police stations were in Ottawa. And he kept going and then the guy, oh, that's the right one. He just kept rhyming them off. And he got access to their hosting plan and put a dancing banana on. No, that is considered hacking, but is it really hacking? It's social engineering. He social engineered the caller for the hosting company, right? Does that make sense? So that's just an example. So it can happen to anyone's what I'm saying, right? They have since put their hosting in-house, which is a lot safer, but yeah, so it can happen. Can I go to the next slide? Sorry, just keep going there. Ransomware, the church is now protected. It was not before I came here. Ransomware. Has anyone ever heard of ransomware? Yeah. Okay. Ransomware, very, very, very quick. If you have all your files on your computer, ransomware hits them. You know Word, it says like .doc and Excel's .xlx, or right? Well, it changes the extensions, right, to an encrypted, and it encrypts every file. How quick do you think it takes to encrypt your computer? Every file in your computer, once a ransomware hits. About 15 seconds, 10 to 15 seconds, every file. Then what you'll get a sign like this, say you have so many days to pay to get the decryption key. How do you think you pay? Crypto. Why? Because it's anonymous, right? So there's software out there that helps stop this, and it looks for changes on those file extensions, okay? And one is the Bitdefender software that you have, okay? And I will send links to all the software solutions to Margie. You can send them out to the church, and you can share them with friends and family, whatever, to help, okay? And it stops. So it's just very important to have that on. People usually think, oh, I've got antivirus, I'm safe. Antivirus only covers for viruses. It does not cover for ransomware. Ransomware is separate, okay? All right, okay. Okay, if we can go to the next slide. We'll power through a few of these here now, so because I do not want to do death by PowerPoint, you know. And so the most common scams, we're going to run through a few of these for people here. And these, I've seen every one of these. If you can just bring that whole slide up, just keep clicking through, I'll read these out. The mass marketing phone scams, down the same type of thing you're saying. The CRA scam, has anyone heard of CRA scam? Yeah, okay. Okay, so you know about that. The grandparent scam is that one that I tell you about. I can talk, you know, hey, granddad, grandmom, I'm being arrested. Very, very common in Calgary. We've seen a massive uptick in that last year. It has since gone down, and a lot of them they're working from out of country. They're actually getting people to do it here. And someone will come to your door to pick up the cash. It's insane, you know. So do you know what that is? Yeah, to come to the cash. The lottery win. If it's too good to be true, pray about it. Because, yeah, if you didn't go for, if you didn't apply for a lottery and all of a sudden you get an email say you've won, well, yeah. The call back. Who's ever got a phone call? The call doesn't come through, and you say, "Oh, who called me?" And it's a weird phone number, and a little bit he's like delete, but a little bit he's like, I want to call. I'm curious. What they do is they call you from a high cost phone number, and hang up. So when you call back, you're paying $2 or $3 a minute to call back to find out who it is. Thank you very much for the phone call. Does that make sense? Okay, so yeah, I don't want to say it's kind of smart, but it's kind of funny. But the email scams, the phishing, the bank security concern. Hey, we've seen unauthorized activity. What's your PIN number? We just want to make sure. And what's the code in the back of your card? Come on, right? Never give your bank information over the phone unless you're calling them. And a bank will actually never ask you for it. That's the ironic thing. They'll ask you for a portion of it just to verify. They'll say, okay, give me the third bank of characters or give me the expiry date. That's what they'll do, okay? Personal information breach. I'll cover that coming over here. Check overpayment scam. Has anyone ever heard of that? Okay, has anyone ever seen the signs on the road? Earn $50,000 a month. Has anyone ever seen those? Have you ever been curious? What is that? Yeah, do you know what those are? So I'm going to explain what those are. Some are legitimate, most of them, 99% are not. So come work for me. What's your name, sorry? Yolanda. Sorry? Yolanda. Mom, okay. Yolanda. So Yolanda, I say, hey, come and earn $1,000 a day, please. Okay, all you have to do is phone these few people and see if their customer service is good. That's all I need you to do. Okay, you do it. You expect your payment. I send you a check for your $1,000, but mistakenly, because I'm silly, you get a check for $10,000. I'm very sorry. Good news, bad news, or not a big deal? Okay, so what's happening is I've sent you a check for $10,000. Can you just cash that? I'll tell you what, and just send me back the $9,000 and keep the $1,000. Okay? Because it's easy. Okay, for your trouble, keep $2. Send me back $8. This is what happens. This is what happens, okay? So Yolanda sends me back. So Yolanda keeps $2. I get $8. Thank you very much. I'm gone, but you've just e-transferred it to me or whatever, and I'm off to the races. I'm off to Mexico again, right? What happens 7 to 10 days later is, it's a stolen check. And guess who's on the hook for the $10,000? Yolanda. But she gave the money out. She's not getting it back, right? But here's the other side of it. So that's bad, right? Bad? Yeah? Here's the other side of that. Where'd the $10,000 check come from? Could we not go over that after that person, maybe? So what's happened with that check from is another scam, where I have scammed somebody to send me a payment for a product, for an item, or whatever. But instead of sending me the payment, just send it to you. You just make that check out to Yolanda. I'm never actually giving. So there's actually 2 scams going on at the same time. So that's what that is. So if you ever have that as you've said, yeah. Into the shredder, thank you very much. Yeah. So be very careful of that. It's a very common one, and that's a lot of those adverts. That's what they're doing. Okay. Any scam, Bitcoin, CEO, CFO, your chief financial officer, chief executive. This, I don't know where you work, whatever. This is a common one. It's getting less and less common, but it can happen in churches as well, and I've seen it happen in churches. Margie gets an email from Pastor Godlove saying, hey, I'm about to go into a conference. I just spoke to my pastor friend. They're having some problems, whatever, with the church. We want to give a financial donation. Can you just do an e-transfer straight away? Let me know when it's done. Thanks very much. $10,000. Right? Okay? And then what happens is Marge, and it's a little bit of social engineering because Pastor Godlove's going into a meeting, so he's not available to talk. Right? But you know, oh, Christ, so Marge is now go, oh, I need to send it. He asked me, oh, and he needs it done now. Okay, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do? What you do is you don't do anything. You, as Diane said before, you lift the phone, you call your chief financial officer or your CEO, hey, did you just send me an email? Because their email could have been compromised. Okay? And here's another one. Who's got an email ending in .ca? Like, so I have one, right? Okay? If you get an email ending in .co, would you see a difference? Some people don't. They don't. They work on these things. What about an I and an L? An I and an L, or an O or a 0? You don't look, do you? So if your email address is, say, Coke, C-O-K-E at gmail.com, could that be C0KE at gmail.com as well? So people will try and get email addresses that are similar to yours to try and send people emails. Just be careful when you're reading the email address. So what my point is, that's okay. Very common, because they're usually used in those scams, the CFO and CEO. They come from Pastor Godlove, but it could be Godlove with a 0 rather than an O. Right? So, okay. So the split screen scam, and we will go through some of these as well. Who's ever got an email? Male or female doesn't. Well, actually, let's not say this email. Don't answer that question. Remove that from your memory. You'll understand why in a second. People have got emails saying, "I've seen what you've done on your computer. It's really, really bad. You've been looking at bad sites or whatever, and I've got your password." And I've been recording your screen, and your password is, and they will give your password for your account. Has anyone ever got an email like that or something like that? Okay, yeah. So what's happened is you have been, I'll tell you right now, if you've got an email like that and it shows a legitimate password, you have had a compromise in an account somewhere. Your screen is not being recorded. That's not happening. But what they're doing, they're playing on the hope that you're using the same email password for multiple accounts. Does that make sense? So you're saying, but every account you have, your banking, your email, your utilities, your City of Calgary account, whatever it might be, has to have a different password. You should have a different password. If you're using the same password, your risk is elevated because they only need to get your password right once. And they're into everything. Does that make sense? So what you've had is you've had a compromise. So now they're going to try and exploit you for, what do you think they're trying to get you to give them? Cryptocurrency, right? So the payroll scam, we've seen that. Hey, an email, can you, I've changed my bank details. Here's my new ones, right? And then you update your bank details to something else, and it goes to the bodies. Okay, zero. And the romance scam. Has anyone heard of the romance scam? Oh, no? Really? Really? Okay. The romance scam is very, very simple, and it's very, very mean. And I've seen this in Calgary. We have had it in Calgary quite a bit, unfortunately, and it's where someone is online and they meet someone, and they fall in love with this person online, but the person online is not real. They don't exist. But this person believes that they exist, and they go through the whole thing. And we have had people fall in love with people who have been in the U.S. military, in Iraq, who have been injured off duty, so the U.S. Army doesn't cover their injuries. So they need money paid by cryptocurrency to pay for the medical bills. And we have seen people in Calgary, I'd say right now, people who've worked their entire lives, remortgage their homes and send the money. I've seen over $500,000 go out to people. And you know what's sad after that? I have had people in front of me and they have said, it's real. It's still real. Because they don't want it to be not real. Because as churches well know, people want to be loved. Right? And people unfortunately play in that. And it's real. It's happening in Calgary. If I can go to the next slide. Okay, so we just burn through these. If you just keep going, you keep clicking. These are just the scams. I'll talk about some of these. I'm cautious of time just for you. The USB scams, and I'll give you these slides, so don't worry. If you see a USB lying on the floor like that, what are you going to do? Kids are the worst for this. Kids are the worst. What are you going to do? You find this outside your front door, and it says free games on it. What are you going to do? Huh? You're going to plug it in, and you're going to see what's on it, because, oh, I want to see. Curiosity gets the better. And it's not so much, now if you just pause on this one, just pause on this slide. Just go back to that last slide there, please. I'll just touch on this one in a second. And they will want you to plug it in, and it's installing software on your systems so that they can infiltrate your computer. That's what it's doing. And it's quite easy to do. If somebody's got physical access to your computer, I'll tell you right now, it's very easy to get into your computer. However, if you have software on it, like the one I'll send in Margie so you can get it, it will detect it immediately. It'll say, something's up here, and it'll block the connections and tell you, all right? So I'll send that to Margie. So as said before, the emails are getting less and less common, like the phishing emails. Who get text messages like this? Does anyone see it? Oh, yeah. Hey, this is a CRA. We forgot to pay you your $1,000. Woohoo! Happy days. Just click this link and claim it. This link will take you to an e-transfer where you will have to type in, you'll have to, deposit your money into your RBC. Just log in, and we'll automatically deposit, right? And you log in, and this is what happens, in case you're curious, what happens when you click these links. You'll get the link to RBC, CIBC, wherever it is, and it'll say log in, and it'll be RBC. It'll look like it. You'll type in your username and password. You'll click submit, okay? You'll log into your banking. Your bank account will show. Does that surprise you? Because what it's doing, a lot of these, what they'll do, they'll have a little bit of JavaScript in there that's taking your username and your password, okay? And it's then putting it into the RBC bank for you. So when you click submit, it'll log you in the way you meant to. They won't get logged in, but you've just sent them your information, your username and password. Does that make sense? So it'll log you in, and you'll think, whew, and then you'll go, where's the money? And then you'll go back to the site, and the site will be gone, because it'll self-delete itself, because it's achieved its objective. All it wants is to get your information. Does that make sense? So that's what happens when you get these texts. This is what's going on. Or it might say to you, download our app if you're on an Android phone. No. So these text messages, I'll tell you right now, nobody's selling you money by text, okay? You understand? You will know if somebody sending you if I send Pastor God love money today, okay, and he just got a text from Ray from RBC, what's normal? And normal is going to be, hey, Pastor God love, I'm sending you this for this. Yeah. Does that make sense? So if you're getting text like this, do not click. And if you have clicked it, once we're done, change all your passwords. All right? Okay? Change them, because you're at risk, okay? If you, okay, yeah, you can just keep going. Awesome. Just you keep going. If I see something, I'll tell you to stop. Thank you. These are all the ones I've spoke about here. Just the overpayments, and I'll send you these slides. But I want to give you some, okay, well, what do I do, Ray? This is all fine. What I don't want after any of these talks is fear. Because we live in a world, but we're not of the world. So we don't want to have fear. Because that's so protecting yourself. Yeah, you just go to the next slide. It'd be awesome. Protecting yourself. It's very, very easy. Very easy. Okay. Trackers. You can have. This is a free bit of software I'll send to Margie. And what this does, it stops websites tracking your information. Every website you go to tracks what you're doing, tracks what you click on. And I actually had a little script once, and I could actually let people click, and it would actually tell me exactly what word they clicked on, what time they clicked on. It tracks it all. Why? Because they want to use that information for marketing, so that the marketing can then send you stuff that you want to buy. For example, if I start saying coffee cups, we want to buy coffee cups. Does anyone want a coffee cup? We all want coffee cups. Somebody in this room today is going to get an advert on their phone for coffee cups to Tim Hortons or something. I'll tell you right now, because phones are designed to pick up on that information. Okay? So yeah, and if we keep going, so this helps stop tracking, and it's all free. The stuff I'll show you here is free. So yeah, go to the next slide. Awesome. Best practices. Have a plan. Just you keep going. Update, update, update. People do not update their computers. It's free. If you have Windows, you have Apple, it's free to update with the latest security patches. Why are Microsoft releasing updates? Why is there updates on any phone? Because they've identified a risk. They've identified an issue. That's why there's an update. It's not because they're just being nice. Trust me, corporations aren't that kind. They're doing it because they've identified a risk that they don't want to be sued for later. Okay, right? So update, update, update. That's the bottom line. Now, here's the thing. I laugh because I had this within the church here. If you have a computer from 2008, okay, and you're updating that with the latest patches and the latest updates, okay? Okay, and we're sitting in 2023. It may not work as good, okay? Because it is like this. We're changing from gasoline to electric vehicles for the most part, right? Okay, we have to update the core of the vehicle to do that in order for the electric to work. So if we put electric into a gasoline vehicle, it ain't going to work. Okay, things change, and you also need to update your systems itself, right? So that's also important, because eventually what happens is there's end of life, okay? Which is when a company will say the end of life for Windows 11 will be 2024, for example. We're no longer going to support that from that date. Okay, so if you've got that on in 2027, and you've got Windows 11 on your computer, and Microsoft haven't supported since 2024, who's rubbing their hands going, happy days, I know people with Windows 11? Corrupt people, the hackers, because they know there's vulnerable computers out there. Does that make sense? So that's why it makes sense, okay? And back up regularly, safe surfing practice. Children, tell you right now, common areas is where computers should be. They should be in a kitchen, a living room, where parents can watch them. What does POS stand for? Anyone know? Parents? POS. Yeah, this is a nice one, POS. Anyone know? If you saw your kid chatting to someone online and they type POS, what could they be saying? Parent over shoulder. Is that concerning? Parent over shoulder. I.e., your parents over my shoulder, right? So, and there's the kids use like 100 acronyms. They make each other know what's going on. But if they're using a computer in a common space, in a common area, you have lowered the risk. Simple as that. My son, 16 years old, he's grade 11. He does need to work on a computer doing schoolwork a lot. He does it in a room upstairs, not his bedroom, it's a spare room that we have. The door is open. He knows I can remote into that computer at any point and see a screen. He knows I can go in. And what I also have is I have got filters. I can see on my phone right now every search term he put into that computer. I can see how long he was on every application on that computer. I can see how long he was gaming on a certain game. And you know what else I can do? I can shut it all down the tip of in a second. And his computer literally goes black with parent just locked you out. And what does he do? What do you think he does? He's 16-year-old. What does he do? He's in the middle of a game, playing, having fun, eating Cheetos, having fun, and the screen goes black. Because I say, oh, he's been on 2 hours there, whew, and the screen goes black. What do you think he does? 16-year-old boy, what do you think he does? How does he react? What do you think? He quietly switches the monitor off and go, okay, does something else. Why? Because from this age, that's been the rule. Since that age. Does that make sense? You try and bring that into a 16-year-old today who's never experienced that. Oh, yeah. The second coming needs to be coming because Armageddon's coming. You know? That's how, right? You need to bring these practices into your families and your grandkids when they're young. Funny story, I'll tell you this story. My daughter, she's 22, she's married, she's a year-old kid, and she was at our kitchen dining table when she was 16, but 16, you know the story I'm going to tell, with her friend from school. And her friend, I was saying, yeah, I see everything you do on your cell phone. So this was like 6 years ago, right? And he goes, no, Dad, you don't. Yeah, I do. And she gets a text at the exact same time. I get a text. He goes, what is that? Oh, it's just your text. Of course, I see her text and I read it out to her. It wasn't her. It just happened to be coincidence, you know. And then I said, but I get everything that you get. He said, what do you mean? He said, I get it all. And I said, I'll tell you right, last Wednesday when you were walking home from school, you and your friend here were actually walked on the pond and the ice started to crack and you screamed and you ran off and I saw you laughing and they were like, what? And her friend freaked out and said, yeah, I told you, I see what you through the phone. I told you that when we got you the phone, we will be keeping a watch on everything. Does that make sense? So that's fine. She's 19, when she was 19, I finally broke the news to her. I didn't see anything. I socially engineered her to believe that I did. But what do you think it did in that whole 3 years? Yeah. She was, I'm not doing anything on my phone. My dad sees everything, right? No, there are systems that you can do to do that. But the point is, yeah, you can have a little fun with it as well at the same time as a parent, right? But if you put those practices into your kids' lives when they're young, all right, they will grow up with that. And what do you think they'll do with their kids? They'll do the same, right? But you're protecting them. Okay, I know one time my daughter was being spoken to by someone online, you know, and they were asking for a picture, and they were asking, hey, how old are you? All of this, right? What did she do? Did she respond, do you think? No, she didn't. Who was it? This guy. Okay, I tested them, and I test them. And for kids, you need to test your kids. You need to. It's no different than you won't let them cross the street without, you start off holding their hand, you walk with them. Next time you do it again. Next time you may just have them walking beside you. Next time you'll do it again with them walking beside you. Next time you watch them as they cross and you catch up to them. Next time you do the same thing. Next time you know they do it themselves. You have to test them to make sure they can cross that street safely. So they need to be able to cross the digital street safely, and you need to be their coach. And you need to be the Yogi Bear in all of it. Doesn't matter what they do, how they mess up. You need to be Yogi Bear and have that paced, calm conversation. It's okay. We're going to get through this together no matter how bad they've messed up. All right? Because predators, all those bad actors work on fear. They work on fear. That's their drug. Okay? Can we go to the next slide? No, is there a next slide there? Yeah, securing your devices. I will send this through to you. And if you just keep going through the slides there, that's okay. So this one, if you're ever a victim, it's important to tell someone. Okay? And this is really for adults as well. Doesn't matter. Look, see if you are that person who sells their entire home and gives that cash. All right? You need to tell someone. You need to do it as quick as you can. Because that's when the police can take certain action sometimes, but the big thing that we do not have on our side is time. Okay, we do not have time on our side. If there's business-to-business compromise is where a business sends cash to a business, or there's a check cashed from a business to another business, and if it involves the states. And we get the information within 3 days, within 72 hours, we can get that money back. All right? But what do you think people do? They wait, and they talk to their friends. What do you think I should do? Oh, I'll talk in church about it to see what pastor thinks. What have you got to lose by reporting it? Nothing. Okay? You have nothing to lose. Okay? You can still go and get advice from pastor. You can withdraw the complaint even if you want to later. Right? But at least you've given yourself more options. All right? Right? That's the big key. Okay? And just keep going there. This is a big one. This is because I put this in here, even though it's a church, but it is employers. This is when I give it to like a corporation, because I'm sure people work for people here, or you may be an employer yourself, especially like the pastor, for example. What do you think the weakest link is? The weakest link in a corporation is the person, themselves. The person is the individual who will pick the USB up and plug it in. The person is the person who will click on the link. The person is the person who will download something nefarious. The person. We can have every cyber security, every firewall in place, everything, but if a person intentionally acts against the advice, that's your weakest link. Okay? And that also counts for the home. You will be the weakest link in your home. You could have every cyber defense. In my home, I could have every cyber defense in my home. But if I intentionally do something to put something into my computer that I know is the wrong thing, I have a consequence, right? So people are always the weakest link, and that's where people are targeted usually. It's not usually systems. You hear all these stories about something's been hacked, and the word hacked's used a lot. But I'll be honest, about 95% of the times, it's the person that's been hacked. They've used the person. It's not actually the system, okay? And they've got somebody to do something, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, yeah, and just... Next one. And if you are a victim, yeah, report it. That's the big thing, all right? Okay? So that's kind of, I've rushed through a lot of this. This is sometimes like a day conference or 2-day conference sometimes. It is a smaller group. So I want to open it up to any questions that people have, right, about security or what should I do, what if. The big thing for kids, I will touch on just quickly as well. For kids, these, I don't want to call it because you're getting a bit older, but if you are ever talking to anyone online and you haven't met them in person, should you talk to them? No. Golden rule. That is the golden rule. Adults. What about adults? Come on. Christian mingle. I'm single. I'm not, but... so you have to be careful is what I'm saying, right? Okay, but kids, I'll tell you right now, if a kid has not met someone themselves in school or in your company, they shouldn't be speaking to them online. I don't care how good of a gamer they are. I don't care how much they're offering. I don't care how much of a nice person they are. I don't care if their profile shows that they are born of the Virgin Mary. You know what I'm saying, right? You do not engage anyone who you have not met. Does that make sense? Now, if you do and something goes wrong, okay, what do? Kids. To who? To who? To mom and dad, please? Okay, let's say, what's your name? Divine. That's a divine name. I'm sure you got that a lot. Okay, Divine, you're the pastor's son? Okay. Let's say you are at home. Your dad gets a new laptop. Okay? You're on it. You're playing Roblox, whatever it might be, a game, right? And somebody starts talking to you, okay? And they somehow convince you to do something in your home. Say, and you break something. Okay? But you don't want to tell your dad. Okay? And your dad comes home. And they say to you, oh no, don't tell your dad. Don't tell your dad. Don't worry about it. I won't say it. Will you tell your dad if you did something? How would you feel? Would it be hard or easy to tell your dad? Hard. I would find it hard too. Hey, okay. Okay, what will happen is the next time you're chatting to that person, they'll do something else, and they'll make it even harder for you to tell your dad. This is what they do, guys and girls. This is what they do. Okay, and then within maybe a week or two, they've got maybe 4 or 5 things on you to make you think, oh, now you just can't tell them about the first thing. There's 4 or 5 things on you. You're going to be in big trouble. Your dad, and guess what? Your dad's the pastor of the church. And you know what? I'm going to make sure Diane in the church knows as well. And I'm going to tell your teacher, but I'll tell you what, I won't if you just do this one thing for me. Okay? And all I want you to do is take a cool selfie. Would you do it? No. Right. Okay. Take a selfie of your dad. Because this is what they do. I want you to kind of experience, this is what happens, guys. Young guys and girls, right? Okay? They will try and get you fearful. They'll try and make you scared. So, who would you tell? There's a reason I'm asking this. Who would you tell? You tell your dad? Would you? Would you be a little bit afraid to tell your dad? Okay, you tell your friends. Then your friends go, yeah, you better do what that person says. Oh dear. It's getting more awkward, isn't it, Divine? So here's why I'm saying, and your answers are good. Here's why I'm saying this. If you can't tell your parent, if it's too scary, okay, tell another adult you know and you trust. That could be an elder in the church. It could be an aunt, an uncle, a family friend. But tell another adult, okay? And anyone who's here is always going to react like Yogi Bear. So don't worry, okay? Because what's happening is people are trying to be mean. And do you see the kid I spoke to you before, the 11-year-old boy? When we arrested him, he was arrested in San Diego, the bad guy. And he pled guilty. He didn't even fight it. He got 27 years. A little bit of me was like, I was hoping he wouldn't plead guilty. It was Homeland Security were going to pay for a 2-week vacation for Ray to San Diego, but he pled guilty, so I missed out my free vacation. No, but when we arrested him, he was coming out of his home on his phone, like this, interacting with another young lady. He was mentally impaired. He was mentally impaired. Yeah. A young lady who had mental problems, grooming her as well. So, what you do when you tell that adult, when you tell the adult about what's happening to you, you could be saving another young person. Does that make sense? Okay? So it's not just about you. Because if this person's doing it to you, I will promise you they're doing it to another child as well. Does that make sense? So guys, young guys and girls, if someone ever tries it, okay, you let an adult know. And if you're a little bit fearful of your parents, because I know my kids, I'll be honest, cop dad, yeah, tell another parent. You know, right? 100%. I'd rather they tell someone. And then we can work through it together. Does that make sense? Okay. So, and here's the thing. What if you tell your parent, okay, and it turns out to be Mr. Ray on the other side just talking to you? What's the big deal? If you tell a parent and it turns out to be nothing, who cares? Make sense? Who cares? What's the big deal? But you'd rather tell and have that, who cares, in case it is something. Okay? That makes sense? Okay? So, any people online that you know, what do you need to do? You need to know them in person. Okay? Now, I will put a caveat on that, because I did have this once come up. That does not mean if you don't know them, you go and meet them. Okay? You need to know them before you meet them online. Okay? Unless your parent or whatever is involved. Okay? Especially like homeschool, I get homeschool kids and stuff, right? I get that as well. Does that make sense? Okay, cool. Any questions that anyone wants to ask? That's kind of it. I kind of got through it just in a timely manner. Kind of compressed. Our slides ran through there, but I will send them. Margie?
If someone has a question that comes up to them in the next week or so, can I send that question to you and you answer it?
So Margie's question was, if you have a question, can you send it to me within the next week or two? Absolutely not. No, yeah, no problem at all. Not a problem. Honestly, not a problem at all. No issue at all. And if anyone's watching and if they have a question even later, feel free to ask as well. But the big things to take away here is always second guess things. If it's too good to be true, it ain't true. Okay, and if you're unsure, ask. Phone a friend. Ask. And Diane's advice was excellent, actually. If you get those phone calls, those emails, call the person yourself on a number that you know. I've had someone call the phone number that was on the email that they got. It's like, no. Call the number. Search it online to confirm it's real. Get the proper number. Yeah. And that is it. Okay? Okay. Thanks, folks. I'll pass it back to Margie.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ray. That was way more informative than I even expected. And I was expecting a lot. So I think you kids got something, right? And you're going to learn something from this. And you're going to practice what you've been told. Because it's really important. So I'm really thankful. I love all these kids. I love all these adults. And it's so important to hear what you've had to say today. So I just want to thank you very, very much. And thank you for the time that you've given us. We really, really appreciate it. So, Pastor, did you want to say anything?
Wow. So we have it online. I believe that you are aware that it was being recorded. Yes, so we can watch that over and over again. One of the things that really stuck out to me that happened of recent was a friend who saw, what was the Tesla guy, the guy who owns Tesla? What's his name? Elon Musk. I don't know what you showed, that they can actually use a program to change the face and the voice, and he's advertising all these businesses, someone of that credibility, and a friend got tied to it, and then because people believe, so it's really something that is so educative, and we need to really watch and especially, change our passwords frequently, I think that is very, very important. But yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. We really value this. It was very, very informative, even those watching online. And let's put all of these things in practice to protect ourselves. One thing that I would like to just find out is with regards to how do we secure the kids? I just came to, there are, I know there are programs like even TV and stuff like that. What is the simplest way to secure those so they don't watch things they're not supposed to be watching?
Yeah, I'll come up and answer that. So something that I alluded to with my own son there. So if you've got a PC, there are built-in Microsoft controls. Simply Google Microsoft Family, and you can set yourself up as a parent, and then you can set them up as a user on each PC that they use. That will track everything that they do. And you can lock them, you can restrict access to certain sites by age, by content and stuff as well. With Apple, you can do the same thing. On an Apple device, in general settings, look up parental controls. And I'll send this by email as well. And you can basically set up the same thing. I'll be honest, Microsoft's system for that is a bit better. Now, the Bitdefender software that I'll send through, that the church does use, has all of that built into it as well. So the Bitdefender software will actually set up parental controls on any device that it's installed on. And it'll track everything. It'll actually track the location as well of where the device is. So if it's stolen, whatever, it can be locked. For cell phones, Android has parental controls as well, as does Apple. I find on the cell phones, Apple's parental controls are a bit better because you can remotely do them through an Apple. So if I have an Apple iPhone, my son's an Apple iPhone, I can set it up so it links, and then I can see everything that they do. And something that I would encourage everyone to do as well, is any system that you have, whether it's banking, particularly banking, your email, Apple accounts, whatever it might be, if you have the opportunity, and I'll send this all in an email as well, is to set up multi-factor authentication. So multi-factor basically means you use your username and a password, but you'll also get a text with a specific code every time you log in. Or there'll be an app on your phone that you get a code from. And what that basically means is if somebody ever did steal your password or get it, they still can't get in without that code. So unless they've got physical possession of your phone, whatever, they can't get in. So, and then for kids, for things like Netflix and Crave and TV stuff, there are settings within them that you can restrict the content. It's a little bit awkward, and I'll be honest, as parents, we can get lazy with this because we just want to put on the TV and put on Netflix, okay? But that Netflix account is a general Netflix account for anyone 18 years and over. Okay, but the Netflix, Crave, Prime, all of those systems allow you to make a second account or third account, fourth account, fifth account that's child specific to an age. So it can be under 17, it can be under 14, it can be under 12, it can be under 5. But you have to set it up and log into that account every time you switch it on. That's...
So for the main user on Prime or
yeah.
whatnot, can you lock that?
Yes. Yeah, so and then the main accounts for Netflix, Prime, Crave, and all of that, you can then add a PIN code. So when you open it, you have to type in the PIN code, and the PIN code also stops your child from changing their age ratings as well. And so I Pastor, to your point, I would strongly recommend if you've any kids, whatever, to get those systems in place and get them in when they're young, because they'll be used to them. Right, and as my 16-year-old, as I tell him, he earns age, if that makes sense. He earns age-appropriate content. He doesn't just get it because he turns 16, because he may not be mature enough. He may be a maturity of a 13-year-old for something, right? So he earns that. It's just not a given. So that's something I would encourage. Put those safeguards in place. They're all free there. And if you have a system and you're going, okay, how do I do this? Drop me an email and I'll send Margie or yourself like a guide. There is a system as well that I do help people put into their homes. I know I'm taking a little bit more time here, but I'll just explain this very, very quickly. I'm very big with show and tell. So this is your computer at home. Okay, all right. This speaker is Shaw, okay, and this is the internet, or this could be Shaw, Telus, Virgin, Rogers, anything, whatever it might be. Okay, every website on the internet, so Google, MSN, Yahoo, whatever it is, that is an IP address. When you type in Google, you're actually going to an IP address of where that website is hosted on a specific server. Okay, makes sense. And how Shaw and Telus know to get Google from that IP address when you type in Google. There's a registry, a domain name server registry that has like a phone book. It says if you type in 72.168.57.89, that'll take you to google.com, for example, right? Okay, but you don't need to remember those numbers. You just need to type in google.com because we make it easy for you. We'll look up the number for you and we'll give you the website for google.com. Does that make sense? Okay, so you're with me. Awesome. So that's how every home works. Your computer, all the information comes into your home here through Shaw or Telus. They look up those numbers. What you can do is you can put in what's called a domain name filtering service between Shaw and your home, or Telus and your home. So it will go, okay, I want to look up Google, and it'll bring Google back as normal, okay? But I can tell this filter to say, hey, I want you to restrict any sites to do with buying drugs. So this filter will go, okay, I am going to get all the sites on the internet, okay, where you can buy cocaine, for example. And I'm going to record them all in my filter. So when you go online and you type in biococaine, goes to tell us, comes back through the filter, and filter goes, this home isn't allowed any of that content, which means you never get all that bad content. Does that make sense? And you can set that for gambling, porn, anything, whatever. Now, what's nice about that filter is it's on the router coming into your home. Does that make sense? It's not on a computer. It's not on a phone. It's on the very first line coming into your home. And because of that, if you have kids over on a sleepover, for example, and they bring their own laptop, and they go on your Wi-Fi, they can't search any bad stuff because it's filtered at the source. Does that make sense? So that's something I recommend, and I'll send a little guide on how to do that as well. And there's a free version of it, and there's a paid version. I recommend people do the paid version. It's like $20 a year. Like it's nominal for what it does, right? And it blocks all of that. Does that make sense? So things like that. What it doesn't do a lot of images, unfortunately, because images don't have an IP. It does the websites, right? So, but all these filters are all in my home. I have, yeah. Feel free to surf the web in my home. Here, it's only good stuff, you know. So, but yeah, there are ways, like everything, to get around things, to obfuscate things. There are ways that, like anything, unfortunately, right? But we do what we can.
Just one last question.
Yeah.
Saving passwords on computers.
Yes. Sure, yeah. So the question about saving passwords on computers. No. As simple as that. Absolutely not. I have no passwords saved in my computers. What I do have is I have a password vault. Okay, and it is on my phone, and it's on my computer. And it's got all my passwords. Now, here's the question with it. So the password vault, I need a master password. I need multi-factor authentication to get into it, to review the password. But here's the thing. What if the password vault gets compromised? Well, right, somebody can get all my passwords. Highly unlikely because they are very secure. However, so what we do with our passwords is we have a keyword. Okay, so my passwords, I'll save all my passwords. So let's say this is Gmail and my password is speaker. I'll put this or speaker123, terrible password, but let's say I have that. I put that into the password vault, speaker123 for Ray's Gmail. I will have a secret word that I add to the end of my password, but I don't save that in the password vault. That's only in here. It's never written down. Nobody ever knows it. It's only in my head. So even if the password vault gets compromised, they still need what's in my head, that one word. Does that make sense? Yeah. So if my password vault gets compromised, good luck trying to work out what's in my head. Sometimes I can't even work that out, you know. So that's what we would recommend, a password vault. Yeah. And no books. Oh.
Just to clarify, I'm not talking about saving, having a folder where you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah.
On the bank, like say for instance, the bank account, you type in your bank account and then they say, do you want to
save your password? Yes. Yeah. So saving sites are fine, but saving passwords on a site, you should not save them. I had a little bit of software that, and I mean a little, like this piece of software, it was minute, and it was for Google Chrome. And I could go to any computer, plug this little USB in, and you know what this little bit of software did? Pulled every password out of Google Chrome that you used, that you saved on Google Chrome. And so, no, Google would not like me telling you about that, but it's not secure, it's not safe to save passwords on browsers. It is not safe, I'll tell you, it is. They will tell you it's safe, they will swear up and down it's safe, but I'm telling you the safest way is a password vault with a keyword that you retain. All right, and now, that said, I'll just preface that with one other thing. If you have saved the password and the username, but you've got multi-factor authentications turned on, will it matter if they get the password, really? No. But you need multi-factor authentication. Yeah. You need that code. Yeah. Does that make sense? Yeah. Right?
So is that on Windows, like, you know how Google saves, and I go into the password and I want to view it, like it has the eye.
Yeah.
to see it, and I have to.
Get rid of them all.
PIN to be able to see it.
Yeah, but I can get all those passwords without your PIN. Get rid of all those passwords. I save none on the browsers. Zero. Absolutely not. And now what they've started doing, you've probably seen this as well, is, oh, if you buy something, oh, save your credit card for next time. It's like, what? No, I hand on heart, the other side of that coin is I am super paranoid because of what I know, right? But, it is like people always ask me what type of alarm system should they install in their home because I'm a cop, right? What do you think my answer is? Better than your neighbor. Why? Because people will go for the easiest target. That makes sense? So don't make yourself the easiest target. That's the key, right?
So now is another question.
Yeah.
Direct debit, save,
Yeah.
Max and all of this.
Yeah.
Are they safe?
Yeah, I mean, I used all of that still. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, banking, all of that, direct debits, all that is fine. Anyone can get compromised. That's what you have to understand. We live in a digital age now. It's not uncommon to hear that that Suncor gets compromised or RBC gets compromised. Unfortunately, it's not. It's what people take target to. I will send you a site in the email that I send that you can type in your phone number and you can type in your email address, and it'll tell you if you were ever subject of a compromise of any platform. So if you use that phone number, say on Facebook or Instagram or whatever, it'll tell you if you were ever subject, anywhere you've used those details, it'll tell you if that company was ever part of a data compromise. And a lot of companies do not report it, especially in Canada and in Alberta. Why is that? The minute that they report a data compromise, there's an automatic fine of $10,000 in Alberta. And it also affects stock price, share price, all of that. So it's heavily underreported, okay? But so these sites that I will send you does draw from law enforcement, but also draws from where they didn't want you to know. And it's all free. Okay? Any other questions or? That's it? Okay, awesome. Okay, I'll give the mic back, Pastor. Thank you.
All right.
That's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
He needs to get going.
Okay. So we'll connect with you then.
100%. I
Yes.
will send an email through, and we will have all those resources.
Great.
Honestly, most of it's going to be free for you. And, yeah.
Okay.
Super.
All right. Great. Awesome. Thank you so much. Thank you. And we'll be in touch. Okay. And those online, thanks for viewing and